I think there was a disconnection of some sort. Yes, looks like we're back now. Sorry about that. I don't know when it is disconnected, but okay, we're back. All right, so we're still thinking about windowing functions. How best to demonstrate them. I'm thinking Twitch data may not be the place to do it. Because I guess I usually don't approach this from how do I demonstrate over, but I usually approach this from, as a developer, is what do I need to answer this question? And over may be the answer. So I kind of want to go from that point of view. Like let's actually answer a question that someone might have, and how over is going, how windowing functions, I should say, not just over, how over is going to solve that. That's kind of what he did here. Was he had sales activities by customers, but I mean this data is not actually. He doesn't actually make the data available, I don't think. Down to 0 viewers again, according to Streamlabs. Probably because of the disconnection. I don't know what happened there, but sorry about that. Calvin Allen's still here. Yeah, so Streamlabs, it was 10. It went down to 0. And it says 0 right now, even though you're both still chatting, Jeff and Calvin. So I don't know, Streamlabs, like their viewers stats, they're not terribly accurate. At least I think that's what the viewer stats are trying to tell me. Anyway, all right. Twitch is a terrible platform. We should all move to Mixer. You know what? If I get a deal like that Ninja guy got, I'll move to Mixer for sure. I don't even need millions. I'll just need hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'll go to Mixer, no problem. I like the fact that this is a little bit of trivia that I learned when I first got into Twitch, was that Twitch is basically an IRC server. I really like that they kind of build it on like old internet protocols. Like they didn't invent their own thing. Now the streaming and stuff like that kind of, that's not part of IRC, but like the chat and how things are structured, it's all IRC. So I like that about Twitch. I don't know if Mixer is the same thing or not, because I'm an IRC user from way back in the day. So it's just kind of cool to be like, oh, I'm on the same infrastructure that I was on back in the early to mid 90s, just with video. Okay. So let's think of some interesting questions we could ask of our Twitch chat data. So suppose you had a whole bunch of history of Twitch chat data. What would be an interesting question for you to ask? Don't even look at the JSON. Just think of any old question to ask here. So what do I want to know? So like in this example here, I'd like to know like who spent the most, I guess, if I could partition it by like streaming sessions somehow, without having to go and enter all that data. I don't know if I have that information. Like who was the most chatty on Thursday? That sort of thing. But again, I don't have the dates in easily parsable format. Yeah, I think I'm just hitting a dead end here with Twitch data. So let's look at some Kaggle stuff. Everyone likes Kaggle, right? Lots of data sets on Kaggle. If you've not heard of Kaggle before, it's a website that it's kind of, well, it's a little hard to explain, I guess, but it's at least it's originally it was a place where you can go to participate in competitions. So a company or an organization will make a bunch of their data available, and then they'll have a question for you like, oh, how can we improve our categorization algorithm, or whatever. And so you would take this data and you try to apply machine learning to it, for instance, or different machine learning algorithms to kind of get an incremental improvement on the answer. But the cool side effect here is that there's lots of data sets out there on Kaggle, and some of them may be old or anonymized or whatever, but lots of interesting bits of data out there you can do stuff with. So let's look for JSON data. And Creative Commons is always good. And let's just do that. Let's see what we got here. Sort by hottest. I'm related to hottest. Chicago ordinance violations. I feel like I've seen that one before. A lot of this is government data in here. Prison admissions, food inspections, trending YouTube video statistics. That's a 200 meg data set. That's kind of, I don't really want it to be that big. Let's keep it to like, I don't know. How big is like the... So let's keep it under 100 meg. How's that? That way I can keep it all in memory as well. Job postings. It's interesting. I guess I'm kind of struggling how to frame a question that would require the use of over and partition by. So if I have like one set of data and another set of data, I want to kind of aggregate this set of data against all of these over here. So if I have 100 customers and I have 10,000 activities, and I want to group those activities up to the customer level. I think that's what I'm getting at here. It's kind of like a group by, but you can do it at a more granular level. New York City complaint problems. Wine reviews. I like the idea of wine reviews. Let's look at that. Just one CSV record? Or one JSON record? What is that? Oh, it's like one JSON file, I guess. See, it says columns, but how can you just define JSON data as columns? That's weird. Okay. I'll get a preview of this JSON data. It looks like flat JSON data, I guess. Yeah, that's not really helpful. Zomato restaurants data. Like restaurants. Five different JSON files. That's interesting. So what is this? This is like restaurants. Huh. Okay. 0, 1. I don't quite understand the structure here. Data collected with Zomato API for JSON files. Okay, so it's just they're pulling data from the API. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to approach this one. This is a tough one. I think I had some notes written down somewhere. So I think I had some ideas a few episodes ago. Oh, bring up Chrome over here. You don't need you to see Chrome. So I think, where did I have this? Oh. I should move that card over here. But I had idea of, I thought I had something written down somewhere. All right, what I was thinking about, I think I remember now. Let's go over here to, I think it was user profile. If we look at .NET, user profile, so we have these things called user events. And the idea here was that we have a user profile, but we also can store a bunch of events about this user as they happen. So for instance, let me bring up the sample code here. Let me show you some of these events. User profile example. This coffee is really good today. I don't know what it is. It's really good. Okay. Add events. Yeah. So we have this add events async. Okay, where's that called from? I think it had some, yeah, fake user activities. So yeah, create user events. And okay, so there's 3 different kinds: product added to cart, product viewed, profile updated. So in this user profile system, a user profile exists, as a document. And other documents also exist that correspond to that user, and these are user event documents. So I may exist in a system as Matt Groves. I'm in Amazon as Matt Groves. And when I add a product to the cart, that will trigger a event document being saved to the system that says, hey, this Matt Groves added a product to the cart, and maybe some details what the product is, etc. Or before I add it to the cart, I may just view the product and save that data to the system. And I may also make a change to my profile. I added my Twitter account, or I fixed a typo in my name, or updated my address, things like that. Those would all cause the profile updated to happen. So would it be, would it be useful then? Would this be a good use of the windowing functions to say, show me the users and give me a count in like 3 different fields of how many times they added a product to the cart, how many times they viewed a product, and how many times they updated their profile. So kind of pivoting that a bit on the side. Would that be useful? Would that be a good thing to ask? So we got 3 different event types. And so I'd have 3 results per user. And maybe we could see like which customers had a lot of views compared to added to carts, and which customers had relatively few views compared to added to carts. We may want to segment them out in some fashion. Like these are the customers who they browse a lot, versus these are the customers who just go in and know what they want and buy. Yeah, counting that phone call, you missed so much goodness. Not really. It's just sort of, it's the part of being a coder that it's just a lot of thinking and a lot of just sort of poking around. And not a lot of action going on the screen. And my kids will come down and they'll see this kind of stuff on the screen where I've got like documentation on the right monitor and code on the left monitor, and it's just like they'll look at it and take one look and say boring. For them, it's I'm either on stream doing really exciting YouTube stuff, or I'm doing boring typing. I'm having Sarah design some new logos backgrounds for streaming, and they're sweet. Well, of course they are. Sarah is an amazing artist, designer, uh, whatever, whatever title she uses to describe herself. She's terrific at it. I have, I was lucky too. My first real job out of college, I worked with a designer. I would say he's kind of similar in temperament to Sarah. So maybe it's just like an artist thing, but he's also a tremendous artist, designer, everything like that. Also, I have geeksmart.shop registered. Let's create some stupid clothes and make some money. I've got some ideas for that already. I don't know if you've seen this before. I've got a cafe press that I don't do anything with. Let's see if I can bring it up. But I created a design because I kind of want it for myself. See if I can find it here. Sign in. I'll show you my my terrible design. Stickers and mugs and shirts, oh my. You know, can I go on a little bit of rant about that? Is that allowed? This is the wrong account? Where am I? Yes, you may. So, I do at a lot of conferences. It is my stream technically. Yes, it is my stream, but you are here. And without you people in the chat room, this isn't much of a stream. It's just me barking into the void. Anyway, this is probably a dumb rant, but I go to a lot of conferences. And I've recently been doing a lot of conference like paper reviewing, like submission reviewing. And one of the things that annoys me, and socks, my new favorite. One of the things that annoys me, and it probably shouldn't, it's just probably something dumb, is that you see sort of the same style of conference titles out there that are everyone's trying to get attention, trying to be unique, trying to be funny. But you see when I see one that's truly unique and truly outstanding and funny, I'm like, yes, I need to see this presentation. But I see a lot of titles that are basically the same title with just different, really meaningless variations. So I might say, I'm going to submit a session to this conference about deploying ASP.NET and SQL to Azure, to Azure. Right? That could be an interesting session, right? That could be really interesting. See someone's experiences building ASP.NET, working with SQL, deploying to Azure. And they write an interesting abstract. And then the title they write is ASP and SQL and Azure, oh my. And I just roll my eyes. Like, that's the best you come up with? Just throwing the word oh my on there and using a catchphrase from a movie that's literally like, what, 80 years old at this point? Yeah, the great again thing, you see a little bit of that. That's got some political stuff entangled with it, so I don't like those for different reasons. Because it either rustles people's jimmies on either side, right? So I'm not down with that. But you know, you see those same kinds of just cliche titles, and it's probably because I've been to too many conferences. But it's just like, oh, please don't do the lions and tigers and bears thing. Do something else. All right. So that was my rant. Probably a terrible rant. But where is my designs? Let's fly in here again. Here it is. Here it is. So, you know, people have those shirts where it's like something, ampersand, something, ampersand, something. I thought, you know, and one of the things that I've noticed, unfortunately, is that a lot of these names on here, maybe not most of these, but a lot of the names in computer science history, people don't really know who they are. Like, I was with you at Condig last time, Calvin, and I asked a room full of developers who have probably all used SQL in their lives. Like, do you know who the inventor of SQL is? And nobody knew. And this is not terribly surprising because I didn't really know who he was. I didn't know the name. I didn't know E.F. Codd and Don Chamberlain and Raymond Boyce and all these names before I really got into databases. But looking at this name, these 5 names in this list here, I'm guessing a lot of people know Hopper and Lovelace because of some of the women in technology efforts. But do people know, and Alan Turing they might know from the movies that came out recently, but do people know von Neumann? Do people know who John von Neumann was and all the crazy stuff that he did? And Babbage might be a name that's more well known in England, but Charles Babbage is a huge figure in computer history, and Babbage and Lovelace sort of go together as well, right? So, but the last 2 are the hard ones, and maybe. So I think 1, it's a cool shirt, it's a cool design. 2, it's just like, well, I know who Turing is, I know who Hopper is, but who's von Neumann? So I'm going to go look him up. I'm going to look up von Neumann and see that, oh my God, this guy invented game theory, and he, did all this artificial intelligence sort of research and papers and all this crazy stuff with the Manhattan Project and everything. And like, oh yeah, this is a guy I need to know more about. But look, I'm just as guilty as everyone else because I've got right here this book. It's a biography about John von Neumann. Invented game theory, nuclear deterrence, modern computer, all these things. And it's still in the shrink wrap because I'm terrible. This is why I don't buy as many books as you, Calvin, because I'll buy a book like this. I found this in Portland, actually. It's a great deal on this relatively rare book. I haven't cracked it, the cover, just not even once. So I'm just as guilty as everyone else. But I like this design. So yeah, if you want to use this in your Geek Smart shop, you can have it. I just put I just designed this in Microsoft Paint or something. If you want to turn Sarah loose on a better design, that's fine too. But I want a shirt like this. Anyway, where was I? We got way off track again. Event requests, yes, or events. So it was over here. User profile. So where is the... So how did this populate thing? Yeah. So can I connect to this? Can I get this running? Go host, administrator, password. What bucket is it using? I want to get some fake data created here. It's not specifying a bucket? Yeah. Why is that? How's that going to work? Oh, I don't specify. Okay, I probably don't specify a bucket here. I probably hard code it somewhere, which I shouldn't, but it's fine. Yeah, user profile. Okay, so I'll leave this here. I just need a bucket named user profile. All right, it's 11:30 right now. We're coming up on. I'm going to end the stream at about noon because I'll be hungry for lunch. But we can probably administrator. We can probably get some of this done. At least some ideas down. So I'm going to create a bucket called user profile, just a small one. Okay, let that one warm up a little bit here. Should turn green. I feel like the last 2 are the hard ones. So I don't know if you remember this, Calvin, I did a series of blog posts a while back on my site about, I call them brief bios. It was about, I was trying to highlight this, like all these historical figures, and we a lot of the names people probably know, but a lot of names people don't know. Yeah, brief bio. So like John Mauchly, that's the last one I wrote, but Konrad Zuse, this guy is incredible, and people don't know much about him because I think most of his work is done in Germany and during World War II, but he did some really cool stuff. Howard Aiken, of course, he worked with Grace Hopper. So I did Grace Hopper before that. And Tommy Flowers, man. Tommy Flowers is a good one. And there's actually video of Tommy Flowers I found. Yeah, there's John von Neumann, which this one I agonized over because there's so much stuff. And there's so much great stuff. But I call these brief bios. Ada Lovelace, of course, and Charles Babbage, and J.H. People even before Babbage, like J.H. Muller and Leibniz, which is not really like programming, but you know, very important. Like he did the what is this? What was this called? It's some sort of step, like it's like it's like a calculator basically, but it's completely mechanical. And it's not like I just copied and pasted Wikipedia. Like I actually looked into, you know, biographies I could find online and papers that they've written. Oops, going the wrong way. I really had a lot of fun doing these. And I put together a session for CodeMash one year that was a lot of these sort of brief bios and what we can learn from these people. So the first one was Pascal. I started all the way at Blaise Pascal. But it was fun. And I don't know if... The thing is, like, do you really need to know who Blaise Pascal is to complete your story points for the sprint? Not really. But it's always good to kind of look back and see all the shoulders of the giants that you're standing on. So I don't know. That's one of the things I kind of wish I could do more about. But I'm not much of a historian. All right, so I think we're good here. Let's go ahead and try this user profile thing. I believe this is just an API, like a web API backend. So what I want to do is actually hit the populate, API populate. Okay, so I think that's done. Now, normally I'd run that in Postman, but there we go, user profiles. So we've got all these users here. Like this is a randomly created user, randomish created user, your security roles and stuff like that. But then I can look at stuff that's not profiles. Like it's supposed to be activities in here somewhere. Add event async. Fake user activity. User event : Yeah, so it should be. There's no indexes, so I can't do that kind of search. Create primary index on, what do I call it? I call it a user profile. Okay, then back to overhead buckets and user profile, and I want to see. No index is available. Yes, there is. Is it index not done yet? Did I just find a bug? Huh, okay. That's kind of a bug where you have to refresh the page for this to not be grayed out. I hate finding bugs. Although I can just read. Got to make a note. Nickelware on documents page stays grayed out even after creating index and navigating back to documents page. Creating index in query workbench. Back to documents page. Hard refresh causes the it's a nickelware. Causes the nickelware. It's not causes it, but hard refresh, after hard refresh, nickelware is no longer grayed out. I need to just verify that Nickelware doesn't become enabled after like 30 seconds of waiting without hard refresh, because it could just be a matter of polling time or something. All right. So one of the things you gotta do when you have early release software is you gotta, if you see a bug, you gotta